Hello and welcome back to the Remembering Tuscola webcast. I'm David Porter. I'm here with Mike Carroll and Bill Englehardt, and we want to our old pictures this week are sponsored by Trust Bank and Elite Builders, so we thank them for that.
Yes.
Anything going on over there at the Carroll house?
Bill and I, after last Thursday's thing, we were out in the cemetery doing our traditional cheeseburger fries and talking about all our friends who are.
You know, you guys will have plenty of time in the cemetery later. You realize that, right?
I know, but we're getting acclimated.
You're staking out your okay.
We're sliding in. We don't want to be caught by surprise
No.
when they put the blue tent up over us.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway,
Looking it over.
Doug Dietrich stopped by and told us that he was going to be on TV from this tornado that hit Ogden
50 years
50
ago
years ago.
yesterday.
So Bill and I both watched TV last night, and
Yep.
Doug was on there, Channel 3. It was at 6:30. They may run it again. But Doug was interviewed about driving that coal truck when he was 19 years old up by Ogden, and the tornado flipped it over.
Yeah.
He jumped out and jumped in a ditch and about drowned, but he did a good job.
He really did.
If they're going to show it again, people ought to look at that. So hats off to Doug. He had first told him he didn't do the interview. And then somebody, I don't know who talked him into it. Chris?
I don't know who did, but he did a nice
But he
job.
did a nice job. And I think
Really did.
he's glad he did it.
Yeah.
Part of that series of tornadoes that came through.
Good.
Bill and I were on where we were playing in Savoy when that hit.
Savoy.
And I remember you wanted to go in, and I called you a weenie, and so we played on. A little tornado never hurt a good hit, but you know, well hit golf ball shouldn't be affected by a tornado.
That's what Ronnie Wynn used to say.
Yeah.
If you hit it right, it won't be affected
It
by
won't
a
be affected.
tornado.
So anyway, if they're going to show that again, it was a weather special, and I think they'll probably show it again. But
Well, I think you can get on the
WCIA
WCIA website and they'll.
yeah, you ought to see
have
it. Doug did a good
It's
job.
good.
Good job.
I was very impressed with
I
Doug.
was impressed.
Doug might want to come on the show sometime.
There you
Well,
go.
we got fame.
Mhm.
We don't want him to get a big head.
No, I don't want to. do
All
that.
right. Are you ready for
Very cool.
pictures?
Ready to go.
I'm ready.
Enough
Put
small
on my
talk.
glasses.
Pictures
Let's
aren't
go. Try and stump us.
quality of the pictures isn't great this week, but
Well, then we have no idea what that
That's
is.
terrific.
That's
I'd say that's close to USI.
on the west side.
Yeah.
I think it's the west side looking back. It's tearing it down. Looks like that's smoke in the air. I think they just knocked the old power tower over.
No,
guessing
this
it-
is snow on the ground.
Well, then that's not it.
No, that's not it. Is this a building of the plant perhaps? Who knows?
this was probably 1965, so the plant would have already been there a while.
Oh, yeah, it's been there.
But they would
Looks
add
like-
to
It looks
it.
like it's on the Thicklin Road. Is that the Thicklin Road looking back east?
No. Well, it could be. You're right. Ficklin Road looking back east.
Looks
That's
like,
going over to Sulphuric.
and the railroad looks like it's over here. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think so.
Could be.
Fractionating tires.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I wonder if Bob took these pictures.
Yeah.
Oh,
Metal mushrooms. There's Kay Craze on the right,
Yeah,
and Janelle Patterson. Who is that in the trunk? Is that Janelle
it's a
Patterson?
Janelle Patterson.
In
Boy,
the
that was
trunk,
good. You're
and-
sharp.
in a Chevrolet at
P&H.
Pound Hookers, I'm thinking.
Kay-
Is that Red Prophet? I mean, is that
I
down
think
at
this
Red?
might be because there were some other pictures from the Ford, unless they took pictures like this in different dealerships.
Is that a Ford?
You know, Kay's a longtime aide.
I
at
don't know.
school. Many years. Her brother, Alan Jones.
Alan Jones.
Married to Jean.
In my
Furco.
sister's class, married Jeannie Furco, my sister's best friend, high school. Alan wound up being a principal, and Jeannie was English teacher. But yeah, Kay's.
What happened
Kay
to Howard
Jones.
Patterson?
Well, he went out to. I think Howard's out in Washington D.C. I think it was CIA or someplace.
Played Little
We have
League.
some more of those pictures some later on. So
Okay, there's Rick Marsh, Crowder, and Frank Lincoln.
Right.
Charlie Crowder,
Masonic Lodge.
Santa Claus. Ricky's looking good there.
I sort of look like Frank.
That's Frank about 65. That's Ricky
Mhm.
about 65. I'll let you get this one.
Oh, well,
Oh, there's Burl Mills.
Burl Green.
Burl Green, I mean. Excuse me.
Yeah, and that's Monty Ron.
Monty Ron in the middle.
Middle.
And that was the guy that came over from Iran,
Did he?
Shiraz Gabuzi.
The tall fellow we should know, but I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't
Oh,
know.
I didn't get these posted till this morning, so I don't have a lot of names.
Yeah.
Oh, Burl. Oh, boy.
Oh,
Oh,
there he is.
boy.
That's a good one. A
Oh.
handsome fellow there on the right is Steve Hettinger.
Yeah.
Gee, Minnie,
That
look
was
at that hair.
probably his junior year in high school.
Yeah,
And who's with him?
I don't know. I've never seen that guy before.
I think it's his parole officer.
It is.
It might be. Yeah,
It is.
Steve was in a lot of trouble as a kid.
Steve was. And
We're just kidding, of course. We're
he
just
promised,
teasing.
he promised the judge he'd dedicate his life to being a fire chief if they'd let him go.
He would teach school, be a fire chief.
I will
and-
say this,
an
Steve was a
electrician.
member of a class where there were a lot of kids that got in trouble. It was a wild class.
Well, it certainly was, especially with the girls.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
all juvenile delinquents in 66.
Mhm.
Becky, is that right? You had a tough class, didn't you? I mean, trouble, criminals? Becky said no. I guess I was wrong. This is Ferguson's Ford. What car was that in then? That looks like a Maverick. What is that?
That's a Fairlane back there.
That's a
isn't it?
Fairlane. This is 65. I'm trying to, that grill's unusual. It's a
Boy,
Maverick.
it
or-
is.
What in the
Well, in
world?
the window, they're advertising a Comet.
Well, you had,
Mercury Comet.
what'd you have, a Cougar?
I had a Cougar.
Could that be a Cougar?
Mm-mm.
Looks too
Cougar
small.
was
for a Cougar.
long, slick, boy.
It was a it was a two-door
Oh,
sports car.
two-door, yeah.
You bought,
Yellow,
you
black
bought,
bucket seats.
Bill bought Don Couch's used Cougar.
Mhm.
That was the
Mercury Cougar.
stud wagon.
Oh, it was
What's
hot.
the car in the back? Then LTD or something like that?
Oh, it looks like a
We thought it was Fairlane. We don't know.
Ford
Fairlane.
65. Yeah. Who's the gal? I guess we're supposed to name the gal, not the cars.
Well, you know the one on the right.
I'm sure we do.
If our sleuths online are correct,
And
Yep.
it is.
A little closer.
the picture quality is not great on some of these this week. The negatives were not great shape.
Give us the initials. She's about a freshman.
Well, maiden name or married name?
Initials a maiden name.
LC. I didn't recognize her, but when I look at the picture and I know the name, then I could see that.
Well, we do that a lot.
Give us the initials of the married name. Oh, that's
Okay.
wait a minute. That's Bumper Ferguson down there, I think.
That's
isn't it?
not Bumper.
I didn't think it was Bumper.
No.
That's a girl.
That didn't look like Bumper to me.
His face-
Besides, Bumper
No.
wasn't even born.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, tell us who the girl is.
Lynn Colbecker.
No,
Lynn Cross.
fooling.
Lynn Cross. I was gonna say Lynn
Hey,
Cross.
Becky, you gotta see this.
Well, that's that Fritz?
No, that's a girl.
That's
next to
Lynn.
her.
Down low.
Fritz wasn't born till 1969, probably. This is probably 65.
Well, then tell us who the boy is.
It's
Is
not
that
a boy. For the third time, Mike, that's a girl next to her.
Don't listen.
Well, let me look closer. Well, that looks like a girl.
He won't listen. He
I'll tell you
won't listen, she says.
What'd you say? I didn't hear you. Well, who is the little girl then?
I don't know.
How many times you told that? That's Veritag in the middle. I think. Those are three women, by the way.
That's a real good guess.
And those are two plaques behind them. Who
The
is
one
that?
on the left looks familiar.
She does.
All right.
You know who, oh, you didn't post them, did you?
I posted them this morning, but I don't have names. on a lot of them.
Looks like a Clyce.
If I posted a date earlier,
It looks like
it had
Durham.
more names probably.
Oh, you think it looked like a farm boy, either a Clyce or Restack.
Darrell Reef Stack.
We'll say it out loud.
Well, I think it kind of looks like Darrell Reef Stack.
It's a boy, I know that.
I mean, it's a long time ago. I don't know.
I get confused, David.
Well, I've heard that.
Okay, I'm getting older. Boys, these are hard to,
Oh, geez.
Well,
sure-
these are, some of these are like, do you post them? But you figure, well, maybe somebody will recognize them. So
well, it's just,
Two girls in the middle look like the same coat. They're sisters.
these are all girls, right?
They
mhm.
look
I don't have any names, but they're in front of the Tuscola Public Library.
Yes, they are.
mm-hmm.
If this is 65, that'd be Cheryl Carr.
Some of these
Cheryl-
pictures are 65, some are 71.
I think it looks like Cheryl Carnine there in the middle with the white hat.
Third one in looks like
That'd be about
Becky
right.
Leach.
That'd be about
almost.
right for that class. If we were seniors, they'd been about 8th, 7th grade.
This here would be about sixth grade, fifth or sixth
Well,
graders. That's
I'm
why I
saying-
said that kind of looks like Becky Hettinger Leach.
Could be. Okay,
Second one in is the Page girl. Cheryl
Mhm.
Cheryl.
Page.
Ding, 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 ding.
Well, we're trying.
We're going. And then the fourth one, is that Phil Waters' wife? Is that
Barb,
Barb? Um,
can't tell.
And then the last one looks like
Ring.
a, well, I
No.
thought the last one would be a Sini.
No,
I don't think it's the
No, I don't
younger
think so.
Sini.
no.
So the fourth
Gail,
one's Barb,
Gail is the younger senior, but that doesn't look like
oh,
her.
who was your principal?
Sergeant.
Sergeant, Barb Sargent.
It might be Barb. I don't know, but that's Cheryl Page.
Cheryl
second
Page's
one in.
second one.
According to the folks online, you got Mary Ann Romine, Cheryl Page, Janice Oakley, Kane, Jerry Stonecipher, and Maureen Trinkle.
Oh, we got them all.
Oh, yeah.
We got them all except four.
Yeah, you got them all except almost all.
Jerry Shook, Stonecipher.
Jerry, I thought her name was Jerry.
Yeah.
Three, maybe it is.
Married to
One of the Stonecipher
one
twins,
of
John?
those- John.
John, I
She's
think.
married to John and live in Newman.
Newman.
It's just looking at it phonetically.
Well, that looks like that's Mrs.
Fleming.
Fleming.
This young couple had a baby.
Yeah, I'm trying to,
That's the first one of the year.
and they got a gift certificate or they got a,
College fund. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I was guessing it's probably a first baby of the year.
yeah.
So
Do people still buy these government bonds?
Saving bonds.
Savings bonds? They got a savings bonds for $5.
Do you have a name on this by chance?
Mark and Melissa Martin.
Mark Martin. Melissa Martin. Didn't know them.
Mm-mm.
I know Mark Martin here in town, but this is a different one.
Yeah, pretty common name. Okay.
Well,
That's going to be pretty hard to identify.
Well, we'll go to the next one.
well, there's Bob and Drusilla Taylor's house on the right. We're
You know,
gonna-
I forgot about this building.
Yeah, there was one there. That's for the old milk. That was Irv Eaton's. Was that Irv Eaton's milk company?
Well, that was here, wasn't it?
Oh, the propane was where he had the milk company.
Propane.
That's
and
why I put this picture in. I think they were taking a picture of this truck with this
Oh, I did. I drove into the back of those pipes, went right through the window.
long load here, but
You see a red flag hanging down from those pipes? I don't see any red flags hanging. Somebody was killed.
but these background images, is that house still standing?
in 65,
They're renovating the house on Park Street, right, as we speak.
but Bill, let me ask you a question. So if this is 65, and it looks like from the cars it could be, Irv Eaton was selling milk then. So how could he? I think that could be Irv's
Well,
milk. I think that's
it might be.
I think that's Irv.
I've just forgotten about that.
Well,
This
it could be 71.
This antique store at one time
right,
too.
right. And Johnny
John Lehman has
John
his
Lehman has it now.
now.
So what street is this?
This is
Park
Park Street,
Street.
Park Street, north of the tracks, just across from Red Prophet Century Motors, now Metco. But I'm going to say I'm going to go out on a limb and say the middle building was the milk company.
And possibly.
And I think Irv Eaton, good old Irv, nice
Just
guy.
Forgot about it.
What's this tall building? in
That's
the
Bob
picture?
and-
Looks like
Bob and that's the Taylor household. Caddy
behind the
corner.
house.
Oh, back there?
Yeah,
It's
looks like a
Cohen's, three-story Cohen's building, Mitchell Cohen's.
Yeah, that's
That the city tore down.
yeah.
It's the empty
No
lot.
longer there.
Empty lot. Now that's looking back over at
same truck.
Yeah, same truck.
Century Motors, getting ready to put the fancy, it was a Quonset hut, and they're putting a fancy roof on it.
Part of the reason I did this, of course, you can see the old Century Motors, but you see the old water tower
Yeah,
Yeah.
and its proximity to the elevator.
Mhm.
yeah,
And the elevator was white back then.
yeah. All elevators start off kind of a white or off-white and wind up a dirty, dark gray.
Mhm. What year are those cars?
Let's go back to the cars a second. We like cars. They look like 65, 64.
Good enough.
Good enough. Well, Well, you get 'em
very
too.
front down here at the bottom, it kind of looks like Larry Hettinger.
looks like Larry, doesn't it?
You know what that is? That's Teen Town. That's in Brett Atkinson's building, which was a corner grocery in the back. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
That was Teen Town.
These kids aren't teens.
No, but
They shouldn't be allowed in.
I think that's where it is. It
What's
kind of
that?
Oh,
looks like
maybe with the Masons, it's got a sign up here that says charity.
Well,
Or
we believe
or
that
Odd
teen-
Fellows, maybe.
We believe that. Looks like Roy Hopkins is Santa Claus. Doesn't it? See Roy back there?
Yeah, it looks like him.
That
Could
could be
be.
Roy. Could be Charlie Kobecker.
Marcy Shoemaker says she sees Chris Hance on the left side. I'd say that looks like
Oh, down here with the short black hair, dark hair,
Yeah.
Second row back in.
second row in.
yeah, looks like Chris. Then she says Quinn in front of her question mark.
Yeah, this is probably the class of 74, around there.
I don't know what Quinn she's referring to.
Right.
Unless it's
I have no idea.
my sister-in-law,
Yeah.
which
Who's the guy? Go back here on the right. There's a guy with a tie, a suit and a tie on. Right
Where?
side. Yeah, right. Blow that up. There's a guy with a bow tie. That Beau Brummel, I think.
Hmm.
Well, that's hard to.
hard to
Hard-
tell with these some of these negatives that they're
Yeah.
You get pretty good focus on some of them, but then some of them not so much.
Well,
Bo Pearson in the back.
Elmo, Bo Pearson, and then
Ziegler
Ziegler on the left, and then Helen Ziegler is
with the dark hair.
dark hair, second one in. She was Douglas County Treasurer for years. I worked with her in the 70s. She's a wonderful gal. Bo at the top. He was head potentate. We should know the others. Who's up there with Bo?
I think that's his wife, Pauline, but I can't
I think
be
it's
sure.
Pauline.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's a closer up.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
him.
that's Bo.
Bo's a good guy. Like to play golf. I played golf with him.
Bo's a great guy.
Bo and Pauline Pearson. I don't know if you said his last name.
Yeah, Bo
Yeah,
Pearson.
Bo Pearson.
Elmo.
Elmo. His building was where Larry Hedinger has his shop now in the
Mhm.
corner across from the post office.
Right. Nice guy.
Yep. Jeez.
Joe
I'll give you-
Caldwell says looks a little like his Aunt Della on the right, his mother's sister.
Who says that?
Joe.
Joe.
Joe Conway?
Joe would know.
He probably would.
Joe's mom is the second one from the left. Ruby, second from the left.
First one on the right
is
is Tracy Carpenter.
Tracer Carpenter on the, and all the top is Hallie Hopkins at the very top in the middle.
Uh-huh.
And taught school, and Roy was at the bank.
She
Second,
taught fifth grade.
second from the left is Ruby Caldwell, beautiful woman, still beautiful later in life. Very first Miss Tuscola.
Mm-hmm.
When was that? 19?
34
30s?
or 5, something like
Joe's
that.
mentioned she's first Miss Tuscola.
Yeah.
As I've said before, the Masons, for being a secret society, seem to like to have their pictures taken.
Well, it's a
Come across a lot of them. But they
strange
all
kind of,
get dressed up. They want to, have
Yeah.
their ceremonies.
yeah. Okay, Ralph Allen on the right,
Mm-hmm.
Roy Hopkins on the left. Talked about Roy a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ruby Caldwell's in there
Ruby
again.
Caldwell's second one from the left again.
I'm looking at this other guy in the
Yeah.
middle.
Used to drive a truck for him, didn't you?
Probably.
You drove a truck for everybody. So if he has a truck.
Yeah. His jacket looks to be too short there. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to come right
Or too tight.
in your cuff.
You're right.
That's how I used to buy sports jackets at Carpenter's. The sports jacket is supposed to fall right in,
Right there.
right there.
I'd say it's
Roy-
about
Roy-
8 o'clock at night.
Roy Hopkins got his perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, it's about a minute. Yeah, about a minute.
It'd be 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't know.
It must be a bowling alley. I see these bowling balls up there. There we go. There's the Knights Templar.
Okay.
We got a
Fourth one in from the right is O.B. Smith.
Try and lift this up. David, you're blowing smoke and I can't tell who you, oh,
Oh.
that's.
Oh, God, we know him.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
The smoke shouldn't be affecting the shared screen.
I'm just kidding.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's not Jim Sherrick. Was he a Knight?
No.
O.B. Smith.
O.B. Smith's fourth one in. Next to Frank Lincoln, who's the fourth one in from the left, is Bill Wakefield. His wife was Emma Wakefield, my second grade teacher.
Second grade teacher at the Old North Ward. And she lived just across the street and a block down to the west. Oh
man.
boy, this is the detasseling crew. And I wish I could.
Is that one of the big
I don't
ones?
think these are detasselers.
No, I don't think they are either.
It's a test plot.
Yeah, you couldn't reach the tassels.
It's a test plot. The guy in the middle with the white hat on looks like Roy Snyder.
Roy Snyder.
Oh, that's Dave Snyder.
Dave was that tall?
87. Oh, yeah. Dave
80. Shirt says 82 of Dave Snyder.
Well, this is 65.
82 on his shirt.
This was 65. He'd have
No,
been
it's 71.
Oh, this is a
It's gonna be
71.
He would have played football in 70, but that's his dad next to him.
Well, who are the other guys?
Well, I'm looking. It's a test plot.
It looks like Trojan corn.
Huh.
Wasn't his dad a sales rep for some company?
I didn't know. I didn't know that. I'll tell you, it's tall corn.
Sandra Hunt says might be her dad, Francis Meyer, on the right.
Far right.
She said I know he sold Trojan seed corn for a while.
That's him, man. He's dark.
Yeah, that negative was awfully hard to.
Oh, that's a good picture. These are new teachers,
In 71.
about 71. And
Chapel,
there's
up left is Chapel.
yeah,
Don
Chap.
Chapel.
Then this guy we don't know. Then that's Jim Coatney, is a tall fellow. Steve Hedinger next to him. Don't know.
Guidance counselor, isn't it?
Could be, but I can't tell you who it is.
Helen Teeters, is that Helen?
It's Helen Teeters on the far left. That looks like Susan Sisna, but might be a little young.
Okay, you've got Marcy's got some of these you've already named: Don Chapel, Steve Henninger, Mrs. Teeters, seated left, Mrs. McCormick, seated from right, Miss Duncan, far right.
Oh, that's
Mrs.
Duncan?
McCormick, second from right, Miss Duncan, far right.
That's Deanna Duncan.
And Nancy
Oh.
R says, I think that's our band instructor, Mr. Riley, second from right in the back.
And married Jim Reinhardt, really nice guy from Minnesota. She was a whale of a golfer. She was on, I think she played on the men's golf
And
team.
she did.
And sweet gal.
Yeah, and
Wonderful.
coached a high school team.
Yeah.
And didn't you have one date with her?
I had one. I blew it.
Mhm.
She's a sweet gal. I spared her. I left. I spared her a life.
I've seen Deanna. We subbed
Oh,
together over at Mill Grove.
She's a wonderful gal.
Yeah.
Carla Ford at the top.
Yep.
Huber. Got a ring.
Mary Oaks down at the bottom.
Mary Oaks, ring on the left.
Kathy?
Well,
Can't tell.
on the right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's Cindy Ring on the far left.
Cindy ring on the far left.
This is a nice group of girls.
Yeah.
That's back when basketball was basketball. See the signs?
Yeah, that's back when Oklahoma Conference and you pack the gym.
Yeah, Marcy Shoemaker says top Carla Ford on shoulders of Jane Swihart, Cindy Morrow, Jamie Huber, and Kathy Hedinger, left to right, left, right, center, Mary Waite in front.
We got
And
'em.
Andrea Huber comments that all 5 Huber girls served as bases, and that would be 2 on top of Jamie Huber Owen. So they were they brought the muscle.
They
were-
did.
They were stout. That's Craig Thornton, voice of the Purple Riders
Mhm.
and the country company's insurance. man.
Got into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He
Think
was
so?
he was hot. He was on the hot mic one time. Tuscola playing out Arcola football back in the 70s, and Arcola Farmers just south of Arcola, Dave. You don't remember this, but they did a thing called the poop train. Chicago brought their sewage, their sludge down and spread on
Yeah.
the farm fields
Mhm.
for supposedly to add
I am
nutrients.
aware of that. Yeah.
And then what happened was the farm field got on fire and burned for like a year. And it was drifting north. And Craig got caught on the hot mic going, man, do you smell that pig shit? It was a hot mic moment for Craig, but he still got in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Oh, that's
Oh,
Mr. Ragsdale,
Dr. Ragsdale,
Dr. Ragsdale,
Wes Ragsdale.
PhD in, I think, chemistry.
Mhm. Worked at the plant, but then became a very successful country
Country
company
got insurance, and his was on the school board.
So next, you're going to show us Chuck Schroed.
His son Wes was, or his son Kent
Kent,
became a lawyer,
class of 67.
67.
Jill was his daughter.
Jill was his daughter. Leonard Bunning.
Oh,
Oh boy. I used to be good friends with Marcus and Larry, and Leonard would come home and he said, I've only got 2 words to say about Oscar Mayer. Hot dog. Leonard was a funny guy. He was from Vincennes, Indiana,
Mm,
down around Red Skelton country. I think he knew Red.
good golfer.
Oh, there's
Rich
Carter,
Carter.
Rich Carter. This is all the country companies group.
Show us Chuck.
There's
That's
Rich.
Rich again. Different
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah. Well, he There's Chick Schroed.
Now, boy, that guy could play some golf.
There was 2 or 3 tremendous golfers in Tuscola, and Chick was one of them. He's about a scratch golfer, one handicap. Clark Igo and Leonard Owen.
Chick was a former Marine in World War II.
These are great guys. Oh,
That's Davis from Newman.
yeah. There's Leonard again, handsome guy.
Yeah, he was a nice looking guy.
Miriam, his wife.
Yeah, all these photos were together, but some of them had different ties and jackets on, and sometimes it's hard to tell whether they're the same person or not.
I don't know who this fellow
I don't know
is.
that guy.
Nope.
Nope.
No.
No.
What about this one?
He kind of looks familiar.
Mhm.
It's not,
It
is
looks
that
familiar.
Newman? Who knows? I don't know.
Well, if you don't know, nobody knows. There's
No one
Gary
knows.
Little.
Larry.
Larry Little, excuse me, coaching Biddy. And so one of his boys ought to be on there.
Looks like Kirk down in the
Yeah,
front.
Kirk,
on the
Kirk little
front right.
low right looks like Kirk, the dark-haired one.
Wow. You should have some names on this, but I just can't.
I do.
Larry was a really good football player on the 53 team that went undefeated.
Dave McCrory says left back, Dave McCrory, Del Lingafelter, Rick Jolly, Doug Corley. Front, John Waldrop, Glenn Mick, Keith Corley, Kirk Little, and of course Larry.
See a little bit.
I see John Waldrop.
You can see a little bit of Glenn Mick down here with the smile.
Yeah, I can see John Waldrop in that picture.
I
The
used to-
one I can't see is Del Lingafelder, though.
I can't either. You know, the Ted Mick, they're Glenn's dad. There were 2 boys. And their dad, Ted. I played basketball freshman. I'd go shoot at the North Ward, and he'd come over and play basketball. Man, he was a good
He
basketball
was a
player.
good basketball player.
He was a good athlete.
Yeah.
I used to walk beans for Larry Little and the coach here, and his truck was so airtight that you had to roll the window down to close the door because it wouldn't close because of the vacuum. And so he'd pick me up in front of my house just about sun up, so we could go out and walk beans. And I've never been a morning person anyway. And every day I'd get in, I'd shut that door and it wouldn't shut. I'd forget you have to roll the window down, and Larry would just laugh and laugh and laugh every day because he knew that I was gonna not be able to shut that door and not remember.
Well, you know what?
You've got it now.
You know what Albert Einstein said? Doing something over and over again, expecting a different result, is the definition of insanity.
Well, either that or a kid who's still asleep when he's getting in the.
Hey, I want to praise Larry Little and all the farmers and decal, because all of us guys that walk beans and detassel made a pledge at age 12 and 13 to go to college and get a desk job.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And I was so short, I couldn't see. A lot of guys, they take 6 or 8 rows at a time. Well, I'd be doing good to take 4 rows because I couldn't see over the beans.
I was going to say you couldn't see.
Then they had these smart weeds that would you'd see it in the row, but the root was like 5 rows over. You'd have to run it down. Detective story. It looks like Bill Rogers.
Second one in.
Is that Bill Rogers coaching?
No.
Who is it?
Can't tell, but that looks like Tim Borys with his hand on the ball. Second one in.
Well, it's not Tim. Tim would be younger. Probably Gary.
No, you think it's Gary?
Well, Kathy Swihart Clapper says Gary Borys. Tim's younger than I am.
Yeah.
Neil was
by a
in my
couple years.
class.
About 3 years.
So if this is 71,
Yeah, you're right.
that would be, he'd be about 2 years old at the oldest.
Who's the coach?
Gary looks like his mother there, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Millie Borys. Who is the
I
coach?
thought it looked like a Bories one, but yeah, I don't know. Kathy Clapper says she recognizes Gary Bories, Tom Herbert, Steve Laley, uh, and Brian Bories. So maybe it's Brian Bories that's on the
Hey,
bottom.
Brian.
So
Yeah.
two Bories in the picture. According to Kathy,
Al Boris, who was a school board member for a long time, and Rick Mason. I pitched EI League baseball when I was a teenager for EI League, and Al was the old veteran. He and Gary Manili. Al was the old veteran. He'd throw all the. He's the one that taught me to move around the mound and change your stretch and how to. He knew all the old. Al knew all the old tricks. He was a great basketball player, a great athlete out of T-Town. T-Topless, one of the T-Town boys.
how many Bories kids were there?
Oh God,
There's a
48,
bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them.
5 or 6.
Can't name them
I
all.
think there's more than that.
Couple girls. There's a couple girls and 4 boys, weren't there? How many?
Mhm.
Well, you
least-
had Gary, Brian, Neil, Tim, and
There must have been 7.
There were 2
6
girls,
or
at
7.
least 2 girls.
Yeah, there were 2 girls for sure. Was one named Alice? What's the other one?
Who died on the
Tall girl.
overpass, Rick?
Is that Dan?
I don't know.
I've forgotten.
the classes. He was in the class 77, I think, my brother's class.
Ted Anderson with his
Great picture.
that is a good out of the past picture of
Mhm.
that corner building, which was all by itself a store.
Yep.
And this had a decent negative to work with.
That's a good quality picture. And
Yeah, very good.
down below you see, is that the Mason sign down below for,
Mhm.
Yeah, the Masonic Lodge
yeah.
down the street.
What's the next sign down there? Blow up
Uh,
the signs down the right. What is that? American Legion, Masons. Yeah, American Legion
Mr.
had an
oh God,
optometrist in there.
optometrist Baker.
Mr. Baker,
Yeah.
nice old gentleman. Building looks pretty good shape right there.
Well, yeah.
That was a
Back
while.
in,
We all looked pretty good shape back in '65.
Oh, we
back in
looked.
19
Yeah, put
This
me.
is-
in coach
Becky
mode.
said we were really.
Yeah,
in good shape.
Becky was in love with both of us. Didn't know which one to
Yeah,
choose.
Yeah, it was
well,
hard
this
to.
is Chris Hill's office now, but this corner here is all closed in, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, yeah, that's all. They boxed it in.
I'd love to see an old building like this.
Yeah, they got limestone
Put
over
back.
the top and the bottom. They put a lot of money in the.
Well, you can't see in this picture, but this building had one of those cone
Cupolas.
fire roofs on the
Yeah.
corner, which is
Yeah.
long gone.
Right there on that corner on Saturday night, Harold Waite would park 40 Ford.
Black
Mhm.
44.
Mhm.
It was a car head. Oh boy, now here we go. This is 61. On the bottom, you got it looks like
It's like Kyle, second from the left.
well, no, that's
There's 2 dogs in the
I
back.
think 40 is Tommy Mercer. I think
Doty is the other one.
30 is the 25 and
Kurt
31 is
Turner's 25.
on the back. You got Jim
Perry's
Polig.
12.
Jim Polig's 11. Bob Travis. No, is that Jim Rice? 34.
Not Jim Rice. That might be Trav.
That could, well, this is 61 though. Well,
Perry's
no, wait,
12.
you know what? It could be 50. Is this from 61?
No.
Well, it's either 65 or 71, probably 65.
Well, no, because
No.
this is the 1960, 59, 60. There's Jim Perry, number 12, the quarterback in 1960. There's Kurt
Turner
Turner's
looks like a sophomore
sophomore.
Yeah, it could be older than it was in.
This is a 59 photo.
Well, actually, from a football perspective, I believe it would be
58.
the season of 58.
58, 59, graduated. Jim Polig, 11, Bob Travis, Jim Perry, Kurt Turner,
Gary.
the oldest
Not Gary.
chaplain, Gary.
Is
Yeah,
it
Gary
Gary's the
Chaplin,
oldest
30,
one?
Tommy Mercer, Dave Thody, and I think that's Bunning. I think that's not Bunning, Browning. That's Mike Browning, 31.
I think
Very
you got
good.
him. Corey, Kurt Turner, top, Poling, Travis, Perry, Turner, Lower, Chaplin, Mercer, Thody, Browning.
Got them
That's
all.
it.
Got them all.
Boy, 100%.
In the back are the two dogs that belong to Bill Cunningham and Joe Ellen back there. That's Sparky and Bruno.
And they're helping fertilize the field.
Yeah,
that-
that's what you want on your football field is,
No, those are all good. Just hold it for a second to talk about these. Bill and I, this is our memory. This is we were 8th grade, 7th grade. Jim Polig was a great punter, probably one of the best punters we ever had. Died too young with a heart attack. Trav was just a great football player, great school board member. Mr. Tuscola loved the school system.
Yeah. Travis.
Jim
was the
Perry
best.
married my cousin Carolyn Oy. Actually raced NASCAR, went down to Texas, quarterback of the 60 team.
He was a good quarterback.
Turner was actually co-captain his senior year.
Couldn't ask for a nicer
Gary
guy.
Chaplin's one of the great Chaplin family with Gary, Roy, Roger, and the two girls, Phyllis and Carroll. Tommy Mercer, of course, one of the all-time greats. Quarterback, came up from Texas. Dave Thody was, I mean, I've never seen Dave since high school, but he was a great athlete, great basketball player. I think he lives out in Nevada. Mike Browning. Francis was a class ahead of me. Mike was fast and a good athlete. Got any stories here? You were probably 7th grade when these guys were playing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember these guys. I love watching
Bucko
Perry
was
as quarterback.
Jim Perry threw a great ball, and
Yeah.
Tommy came up and was quarterback next year. Great guys, and so many. 1, 2.
Mercer, Tom Mercer Bukovich once said was best athlete he ever coached.
Oh, he was a great basketball player. He could do anything. Tommy,
Yeah.
Tom, terrific.
And he had a pretty girlfriend.
Oh, and he was in David. He was my rival in the 8th grade.
rival?
He was dating the love of my life, Kitty Quiche. They were Sandra D and
The love of your life.
oh, I'm
No.
sorry. Did I say Kitty Quiche? I meant Becky Kegley. Did I say?
I was,
Screwed that one up.
No, I had a crush on Kitty my
I
8th
think you
grade.
better get a bigger shovel, Mike.
Hey, David, I'm so deep. Everything looks like up to me. I'm so far down.
You're gonna end up with a damn dog if you're not
Yeah.
careful.
I'd love to have a dog. Just give me a dog, and that's all I need. But anyway, Mercer, that was the classic. He wasn't in Grease. He wasn't. What was Travolta's character in Grease?
No, Mercer wasn't like that.
No, he was the athlete.
Becky, he was being facetious.
But Sandra D. I mean, Kitty Quiche had the ponytail just like.
Yes, it was.
She was
very much like that.
vintage 1959.
Yeah,
Bouncy ponytails.
these guys were.
Whatever happened to ponytails?
I don't
Do
know.
girls still
These
wear 'em?
guys were guys to look up to.
Yeah, Polig was built like Adonis. He was a statue.
Well-
Look at old Trav there.
Oh,
I
Trav.
think you'll like the next picture.
Okay. I hope it's us. Oh,
Oh, there's all. Oh boy,
now that's a very special picture.
that is a great picture. I'd love to have that picture.
I would like to have that picture.
What is it?
Well, this is 1965. Bob Arnold was the coach, and see that jacket Bob Arnold's wearing with the T on it.
We all had
All of
those.
us, every game night in Tuscola, we wore a jacket with the T on. There's Bob Arnold.
Mr. Maloney,
There's
Gene Maloney.
on the right's Bukovich and Murray, the two football coaches. And then in the middle, I don't know if they're honoring him or what, but that's Richard Helm, Dick Helm, one of the greatest athletes in the history of Tuscola. I don't know if he came back home.
That's Dick Helm.
Dick Helm.
Yep.
He was
I wonder what that's all about.
he was Hall of Fame. He's Hall of Fame Tuscola. He's Hall of Fame Wheaton Athletics. He's Hall of Fame College Coach Athletics. He's Hall of Fame Pro Coach, Assistant Pro Coach in Ohio. I don't know if there's a Hall of Fame he's not in.
I don't know.
Still,
Mr. Maloney would have coached him.
Mr. Maloney coached him, and Dick is graduating 51, so Dick would be
No, he's 90.
88, 89 years old. I just got a
He
memo
said
from
he
him.
was 90 when he was here.
90 when he was here visiting us, and he is still doing Christian missionary work for athletics over in Europe and all around the world. One of the nicest gentlemen you'd ever want to meet in your life. Wonderful, just a privilege to know him. Oh, Coach Arnold, Wheaton boy.
I told you you'd like this picture.
Oh yeah,
we did.
this is our wheelhouse right
Yeah,
here.
these are some of our favorites.
Now, Bill and
no
I, in terms of who we could beat up there,
doubt.
maybe Arnold on a good day.
Arnold on a good day.
On a good
that's
day,
no
we could beat
problem.
up Arnold.
Yeah, I wouldn't attempt to.
And Gene Maloney was one of those big, strong, quiet guys. Nobody messed with Gene.
No.
Taught industrial arts.
Everyone, he was probably one, he and Murray were probably two of the most respected people.
Well, everybody, don't you think
Well,
back then?
Bucko
There was
too.
an era there where
Yeah,
the,
there's
te-
an era.
the-
Yeah,
the teachers occupied a high
right.
place in
Look at
terms
these
of
guys.
respect.
They're all dressed up.
Yeah.
I wonder if Dick Helm was back for our banquet or something.
You know, I wonder if he's a speaker
He might have been.
at a banquet.
The two of these guys are still there at the school when I was in high school. I didn't realize how much taller Murray is than Buckovich.
Oh, yeah. Murray was big guy.
Those guys in football wearing shorts and a t-shirt would sometimes get mad at us and jump in and say, okay, now I'm going to run halfback, tackle me. And of course, you'd hate to tackle coach because you're afraid he'd either beat you up or bench you.
And Murray's
But
son,
if we didn't tackle
John,
him, Murray was the same way. If you didn't go hit him, he got mad. So you'd put your helmet and pads on him and you'd hit him head on. They loved it.
Murray's
loved
son John was the biggest guy in my class.
Strong as a bull,
Yeah.
played for Northern Illinois football.
In freshman football, the only year I went out, they kept putting me up against John.
Well, that's
And
fair
John-
fight.
John was
Yeah.
the tallest and I was probably the shortest. And they wanted him to have to get down lower. So they put him up against a short guy, and it was like getting steamrolled every time the whistle blew.
This picture is taken in the cafeteria when they had that trophy case on the one side. This is either Mike's senior banquet or my senior banquet.
Well, it was 65. I guess it could have been before could have been in the winter.
Yeah, right.
This is-
Yeah, it's a basketball banquet though, and I think by bringing back Dick Kemp, I just can't remember.
Well, if it's 65 after January 1st, it's got to be my senior year.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's your senior year,
Yeah.
or perhaps it's mine.
I'm trying to think.
I would have been there anyway.
That looks
On
like
the left, that's
Ann-
Gail Bender from Newman.
Mhm.
Am I
You-
right?
Well, you know the Newman girls.
Well, I didn't have any names.
I defer to Bill for Newman girls. There's Mike Kyle, wonderful. Mike Kyle played tackle my sophomore year. He was the right tackle. Nice, gentle guy. You wouldn't think he'd be a ferocious
Had
football
a
player,
good
but he was.
voice.
Had a
Good
wonderful
voice.
singing voice. Used to sing at all the events. Wound up being I think a physical therapist over in Decatur.
Was that Lynn Statzer?
He married Marianne Parrish, and they still live in Decatur.
I can't tell.
On the far right,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't-
maybe not.
I don't think so.
Well,
Probably.
I don't think so either. The comment says they think that's Mike's mother on the far right.
You know what? That does look a
Oh,
little bit
you,
like
you
his
know
mother.
what? I think you're right.
He had an older brother, Steve, that was a good football player.
Good looking guy, Steve Kyle.
Mike's just one of the nicest guys in the world.
Yeah, Mike was a nice
Gentle-
boy.
Gentle giant. One of those guys you wouldn't think would hit you in
Yeah,
football.
kind of like Rick Gibson, just
Rick Gibson.
general, nice guy.
And then you put a helmet on him, and all of a sudden he knocks you on your butt. You go,
Yeah.
what was that about?
Mrs. Kyle.
He looks like a big guy.
Kyle was dead.
Vern? And they live down there off of Washington Street to the east. What's that back street called?
I can't tell you. Didn't they live out there in the old Ware place
For a
at one
while.
time?
Here we go. You know the girls from around the county. I don't.
Well, I never had the pleasure of meeting this one, although I bet I know her name if you tell me.
Yeah, tell us her name and we'll know her.
I'll give you initials.
Give me a town she's from.
Well, it doesn't say the town. SS is the initials.
Suzanne Strader. I don't know.
Oh, that's
No.
not, That's
No.
not her parents.
No, that's not.
SS.
I'm just trying to think of that. SS.
Hmm.
She's Secret Service.
Susan Shable.
Who?
Susan Shable.
Oh, from Atwood.
One of the Shables.
And Lauren, Susan, and Joanne Shable. So I think
Hmm.
some of these pictures are DAR maybe.
Yeah, they are.
You probably won't see Bill and I here.
So some of
Oh,
these
that's
are not
That's
Tuscola.
Alan.
Alan.
That's Alan.
Ed Allen.
Eddie Allen married Kathy
Kathy Kelsey.
Kelsey from Tuscola,
Yeah.
Linda's younger sister.
Short
Eddie is a great guy from Newman, friendliest guy I ever want to meet.
became a superintendent of many school districts over the years.
Down in Florida, played the guitar, sung. He was a good singer.
Ed would go to interview for a job and he would have the ability to, before he even met these people, he knew who they were and their names.
Well,
and he
you-
could recall them.
And you immediately liked him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's real
He's,
friendly.
he's like
guy.
Bill and I. The minute you meet us,
Oh,
you
yeah.
want us to sing. Sharon Rose, there's
Now
Bob
there
Rose.
we know.
There's Bob Rose, her dad, and Sharon, Sharon Cappy.
Is that her
Mom.
ear ring on her
Yeah,
hand
see the
there?
mohair? That was-
Mohair.
that was probably Rick-
class ring.
Well, she dated Hoot Gibson. I think she dated in high school, Rick. Sharon's just a class act, became a
Yeah.
nurse, and I think she was a head nurse at Jarman and then went up to Carroll and had a very good career.
And she does
Her-
lives about so many feet from
Lives,
you.
lives about 150 feet from me.
Yeah.
Her daughter married our city manager, Drew Hole. There we go. Okay, this is, there's
I
Mike,
think that is a Presbyterian church.
that may be. Third from the right's Mike Kyle again.
Uh-huh.
There's Lucille Dickinson in the middle right.
Kind of looks like her.
Lucille Dickinson,
Frank.
Frank Lincoln,
Third
Mr.
from left.
Who is that big guy? He looks familiar.
He is.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
have anybody there?
No, that's all the names I had. But
Okay.
Mike Kyle when I first saw this, kind of reminds me of JFK with the jawline there and the
Yeah.
hair.
He had a real Boston accent, if I remember.
Bill Bender from Newman for
These
sure.
are all the DAR winners,
I
I
wonder which
think.
one's Miss Arcola. I'm trying to,
Well, I would,
or not Miss Arcola, but one from Arcola.
well,
According to Karen Wynn, it would be the first one on the right, Linda Browning.
There you go. She was probably home studying when I was there.
Sharon
Bill-
Rose Cappy, third from right.
right.
Susan Shable on the left from Atwood. And DAR recipients in 65.
There ought to be an Arthur girl there.
Those are all the names I had.
I knew the Arthur girls. You had there's
Oh, we know them.
there's quarterback, Alan Hall, my
That's a good picture back.
senior year quarterback. You ought to see this. Kenton and Olga. Kenton and Olga were down in happily living in West Virginia, and they came to the plant. Kenton came out for the USI, another USI couple. Olga taught history.
Yeah, she was my history teacher in high school.
Everybody-
Wonderful.
Olga
teacher.
was best. Olga would be teaching history, and all of a sudden we'd get her off on living in
Mhm.
West Virginia, and she'd go extemporaneous, and it was the most interesting
Yeah,
talk.
I can still hear her voice.
Oh yeah, she's high voice, and we had the windows open, and you could hear Bill Hoke barking his tires out in the parking lot. Alan was a quarterback, very smart guy, wound up being superintendent of all over the state. Great athlete, could do anything.
Married to Janet Wright,
Married Janet
class
Wright
of
from your
66.
from Bill's class.
Most of the guys that were smart in 65 married a girl from 66.
Well, it's Eddie Brains. Eddie Brains. Looks like a DAR winner.
Yep. Don't know who she is.
Well,
That's Budge McCown's wife.
second from left.
Second from the left. Other than that, I don't know who they,
Well, the one in the middle looks familiar too.
Is this
Well,
a
she
church?
does, doesn't she?
Is this a church basement somewhere?
Well,
I don't know.
they
The
got a
window-
window up there pretty high.
Yeah, window's pretty high.
Could be a wheel well. That could be Camargo shot, Camargo Methodist Church. Now,
Hmm.
give us the town. We can tell you the guy
Atwood.
who was in 65. I know Mike, that's not,
Poor shot.
no. Poor shot is,
66.
give us initials.
Well, Marilyn Klein says George Pershot, senator from Atwood.
Well,
See?
that's what I
And,
thought.
Randy West said, he thought it was Steve Kiley.
Well, it looks, it looks like Steve Kiley, but
And
But it
then
also looks like
Marilyn
George
says,
Pershot.
Marilyn said you may be right.
yeah, I think it could be right.
And Joy Fay says me and Mrs. George Kiley and son Steve Kiley from Atwood.
I thought it was Steve Kiley. You said Pershot, you idiot. You yelled out the wrong name and I'm having to rescue you. I'm tired of carrying your water up the hill, saving your chestnuts from the
Yeah.
fire.
Oh,
Oh, there's an august body of people.
man.
Everybody wore suits back then.
Stiff.
Look at the dressing up. Oh, that's
Whoa.
Mrs. Isles. Is that Mrs. Isles in the middle?
Well, it kind of looks like her, but it's not.
That's not Mary Isles.
No,
Okay.
no. Those folks. That looks like Grover Helm, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Got any names?
Well, Tim Holt thought Claude Hawkins on the left. Leroy Ron said, not sure that's Claude.
No.
And Tim said he wasn't sure either.
Next.
Well, we're not sure either.
There you go.
Oh, man.
Frank and Patty,
And,
Phil. Is that Mike or Phil?
or John.
Or John? That's John. Well, at that age, they all looked alike. Let's see,
That's really a good picture.
this is 65, so that's probably,
That's a good
now
picture.
let's think about this, 65, and Phil played in 71, 2, 3, 2, 72,
3, 2.
could be Phil.
Frank Lincoln there's probably about 27 years old.
Well, he was state's attorney in 65. Maybe Budge could have been state's attorney and Frank was assistant. I think Budge was state's attorney in 65.
Patty and Frank are brother and sister, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Mhm.
Yes, they are.
Lovely woman.
Yeah.
Wonderful woman.
Yeah, nobody better. Well, no. She had 2 dads.
Well, I think one may be a brother. I don't have any names on this one.
One family landed both the DAR and the SAR.
It could be.
That's from the town. What town was that from? That's the Arcola one, I think. I'm guessing.
Mhm.
Go back to the previous one. That looks like Arthur.
That looks like Arthur. It looks like Hilgenberg.
On the left.
Yeah, that looks like Mike Hilgenberg.
I knew everybody in the class of 65 in Arthur.
I know you did. Yeah.
I almost graduated from Arthur. 2 more credits. Ought have been in. Okay, and there's the empty chair.
Yeah.
You hate the empty chair. Take the chair out of there when you take the photo, damn it. It's bad. That's a rule of photographer, isn't it, David? Take the empty chairs out,
Yep.
like somebody died.
There are a lot of pictures where it's like they took a picture of people sitting, but a bunch of empty chairs in front of them. 'Cause I've got, some of those may be next week. I've got next week's done already.
We can't wait.
So Marcy Shoemaker says, someone thought it was Gene Waters, but Marcy said,
It's
oh,
Arcola.
Oh, no.
That girl's
Karen-
Marcola.
Karen Wynn says Linda Browning from Marcola.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
Linda Browning to me.
Yeah.
Karen Wynn was Karen Jolly, wasn't she?
Mhm.
Karen Jolly.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sister was Bobby.
is that Angela
Bobby
Black?
Jolly.
Angela Black from my class?
I don't think so.
I think it is.
Well, Joe Caldwell says it is. Well,
Am I-
he says question mark, so
Well, Joe's a genius, so that means I'm right and you're wrong again.
Yeah, it could happen. that
Angela was a
way.
pretty girl. Angela's another. We had people. She had a wonderful. She and Jim Allison had the most wonderful voice, and she sang a lot. And I went to the Baptist church with her, and she sang there. And every young kid is supposed to sing. And they called me up one time, and I think my 8th grade year, freshman year, I sang the Old Rugged Cross. And I think I heard a voice from up in the sky to say,
Don't sing.
please, please don't ever sing
Well,
again in my church.
Angela and Linda Wilson were at one of those things at the community building several years ago.
One of those things.
Well, the
Pillars,
alumni.
doors.
my daughter's first complete sentence was, "Daddy, please don't sing."
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I swallowed a can of Drano when I was young, and it's a bad story. Well, this looks like a hole in the ground. Back in Tuscola, people like to look at big holes in the ground.
This is from a train wreck.
It looks like it
Yeah.
because
Thanks.
there's a train. There's
Oh,
Marcia
Truett.
Marcia Truett, Marcia
Marcia
Williams,
Williams.
married Kelly.
Talked to Kelly the other day, had a good visit with him.
Yeah, Marcia's class 65, greatest class alive.
Hmm.
That looks like another train wreck.
I think that's a
I think
train
it's the
wreck.
same train wreck.
Yeah, where's the hole at?
Well, it's on the other side.
A lot of train wrecks back
Is
in
that
those
the
days.
wreck that night that they we had to
No,
evacuate?
no. Bill and I were, I was back from the Army and we visited Bill in his little bitty 400 square foot house down on, what was the street? In
Ohio.
Ohio. And we're sitting there watching TV 10 at night, eating popcorn. Caleb's crawling around the floor.
Well, he wasn't born yet, but that's all
Well, but
right.
Trust me, he was crawling around the floor. And we're watching TV 10 o'clock and they said Tuscola's in a state of siege. They're evacuating the town. A train car fell over full of Cabot or Siltet from Cabot. And they're evacuating the town. And they said it fell over at the Carroll intersection, which was 2 blocks away. And we're sitting there eating popcorn. And I said, should we get out of town? And Bill said, nobody said anything.
Did somebody come and knock on the door? I can't remember. It seemed like to me we got out. We always had to go and see things happen.
Well, sure.
Is this Prairie Street?
Pardon?
Is this Prairie Street?
Yes.
Well, there's the old water tower looking.
Old
I
water
think
tower.
looking back west. This is probably in the corner of,
That's a Prairie Street.
yeah, you're on the northeast corner of Prairie Street
Mhm.
and the railroad.
Yeah.
There's the old water tower back there.
That was a heck of
Picture of the train wreck. And
Yeah,
that's it.
that's David Porter.
Those are good photos. We like it when you show photos from when we were in high school because we can actually recognize maybe a third of the people.
Or a half, if we guess.
I try to get a few in like that for
All
you.
honesty, I was keeping track. We're 93% today. I had to
Right.
correct Bill on that poor shot thing.
Yeah. It was fine as long as someone else hadn't said who it was.
Well, you
Well-
got to complete that sentence, Mike. You were 93% on 10% of the photos.
Yeah, yeah. That's good. That's good. Make fun of us, guys.
Yeah.
Have us on here to identify photos and then make fun of us. That's the way to get us back. You know, we've got nothing to do. This is our social life right here.
Right. So
Our-
is
This is
is this a
the
new rule?
highlight of our life all week is to do this. And the second highlight is go sit in the cemetery with a cheeseburger.
Is
That's all.
this a new rule? I can't make fun of you?
Well, I don't know why anybody would change now.
Me.
Well, let me remind you what I wrote 20 years ago.
Yes, I remember. You're one of my favorite guys. You're a wonderful guy. And I've always thought, David, honestly, you are the best judge of character I've ever seen.
Yeah.
You can pick them, Dave.
Yeah.
You're very good at that. Well, Bill, that's a blast from the past, isn't it?
That's a blast from the past. I enjoyed that today.
We
That
look,
was,
the kids looked pretty good back then, didn't they?
isn't it?
I
The
think
thing I noticed is the cleaning up. I mean, the dress.
took it seriously.
Oh, boy.
We're
You
definitely
wore
in
a
the
shirt and tie and sport coat or whatever.
I remember
Girls were very
girls are beautiful.
nicely dressed and beautiful.
You were thinking about when you mentioned Angela Black there. Angela's been coming to all of our reunions. She's very loyal about coming back to reunions. She even came to one during COVID. I didn't want to go because it was not a reunion, more of a get together. We try and get together. Ronnie Wynn, for example, we're trying to get people to get together after Ronnie Wynn's visitation or celebration of life, and maybe we realize grab every moment you can to get together. But Angela's always coming back, and then Linda Wilson has been coming back, and they were the two of them at you were talking about at your reunion that come
Yeah,
back.
we visited with them that night. I was with Larry Bean and Gordon Rice.
Yeah, wonderful gals.
Yeah.
I should point out, I took pictures at the most recent sports banquet, and the kids were all dressed pretty nice. The
Well, that's good.
girls wore dresses, and the guys, they weren't suit jackets like they were back 50 years ago, but they were not dressed ratty. They were dressed up.
They had this. I mean, the casual movement is here, and there was one good reason for it I liked. But anyway, President Biden had that big get together with Obama and Clinton. None of them had a tie on.
Yeah.
Sports jacket, open shirt, casual movement. And the Wall Street Journal had an article about is the tie dead? And I've got about 100 of them upstairs. I might as well go bury them. When we go to the cemetery, we'll find a plot and we'll bury them. But one of the reasons I liked about the casual movement was the high school kids back, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 years ago. One of the reasons for it was empathy for kids that just didn't have the money for really fancy clothes, and they all wanted to, make everybody feel they belong. So that was a nice sympathy that people dressed down. I love the casual movement because I hated putting a tie on, choking my neck.
You gave several of them to me.
When you became a teacher or principal,
Yeah, I had several.
you're worth about $100 million and came by begging for some clothes. And so I got to tell a story. I got to tell a story on Englehardt.
I'm going to tell a story about the ties in a second.
Go ahead.
Can I tell a story on the ties? The ties, as you get a little larger in the chest and stomach area, sometimes your ties get shorter.
About here to the heart, about here to the sternum.
They get a little shorter, so you would give them to a friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had some ties like that where the end of the tail is right up here, so that the tie would be long enough to.
Yeah. Hey, I give a guy some free ties and he bitches. So my story is I'm back from the Army and going to law school, and Bill's working at DeKalb, and so we go play golf. We talked about going to play golf that one summer every day, and hell, I think I bought Bill's lunch. I think I paid for some of his golf. I felt sorry for him. He's married. Either has a kid or going to have a kid soon. And
about 3 years.
So this is the very end. This is the very end of the summer when we're all done. And Bill said, I have a question for you. I said, what's that? He says, I've got a couple of CDs down at the Corn Belt. And I didn't know whether I should roll. I said, you've got CDs? I just went ballistic. You've got CDs? I never heard of a CD. I never had a CD till I was 71. I never had a savings account till I was 64. If it wasn't for Social Security, I'd be living out in a ditch. Can you believe that guy? I think he's poor and he's got CDs. Nobody had CDs back in those days when they were 20 years old. When was your first CD, David?
My first CD, Well, my dad is pretty tight, so we all had savings accounts out at the USI Credit Union. And
That's right. The
We
credit-
So-
forgot about the credit union.
I was able to pay for at least my first year of college out of my own savings.
Wow,
You were rich.
man.
I borrowed every penny I could.
Well, it
from
helped that I had a scholarship that paid all my tuition and fees, but I had to pay my housing costs.
David, I'm still paying on my student loan debt. And I hope Biden reaches up to the 77-year-old people and gives us a little relief.
Yeah, I don't have any student debt.
I've never, my mom was the shanty lace Irish, the poor Irish. And if you got a dollar bill, you ran outside and bought a steak. I mean, money, you went nuts when you got money. You would look at this money. Let's go buy something.
This is, my dad had rental properties, so all of us kids were forced.
At CDC had rental properties.
We were forced labor. I bought my first house when I was 21, maybe 20 or 21.
I'm looking over at my wife, who was just as poor as I was. What was
We
your CD?
we had to work, and he would pay us. We were tax write-off, but he wouldn't decide what he was going to pay us till the end of the summer, and then he'd decide how much we were worth or how much he could afford to pay us. And he'd write a check, and they'd say, "Here, sign the back of this check," and then went straight to the credit union. We never saw any of it. So it's
Yeah,
not
but
like
you actually at least got to touch your check. My dad never wrote me a check in my life. I don't think my
Well-
dad ever wrote me a check. Mom ran the finances, and that was it. I remember dad had a stroke and was laying in bed near the end of his life, and he said, "Mike, where's all my money?" I said, "What do you mean?" He says, I figured I made $1 million out of USI over 30 years. Where's it at? I said, "Well, how would I know?" He said, "Well, I gave it to your mom. Where's it at?" I said, "I imagine it went for gas and cars and insurance."
Mhm.
And I started listing all this stuff. Dad said, "Yeah, but where is it?" So poor dad never had a CD. It's kind of a Carroll tradition not to have CDs.
I remember, I've got a sweet tooth. I'd go to the youth center in the 7th grade. My brother Greg was in 8th grade, and our mom would give us $1, maybe $1.50 each, that we could spend on snacks. And Greg would be over flirting with all the girls, and I'd run out of money real fast. So I'd go sit by him and pester him until he gave me his money to leave him alone. So he didn't eat the snacks, but I usually ended up doubling up on the snack money.
I wonder what it cost to get in the Strand back in the day.
20, was it 25 cents or 20,
25 cents.
15 or
I
25?
think it's 25.
I think a dollar bill, my memory as a young kid is a dollar bill on Saturday would get you,
Man, that'd get you everything.
would get you a Coke and a bag of popcorn at Gus's. Gus sold popcorn over there. They had that
Yeah.
machine,
Right.
and he'd put his brown sack, he'd pour butter in it and just pour butter. And by the time you got to the show, it was leaking out of the bag onto your pants. Remember? The bottom fell out sometimes. Remember that? You'd be
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
eating popcorn, the bottom fall out, and
Yeah.
you'd have hot buttered popcorn on your crotch. And your mom said, "What's wrong with your crotch?" And you, "What do you mean, what's wrong with my crotch?" "Well, you got, it's all fluidy." And, and then you could get in the Strand and you could still get another Coke. And if Myrtle wasn't looking, you could get a little bit of more popcorn,
Mhm.
If
But
I
yeah,
needed
for
money,
a dollar bill, you could have yourself a double feature with Rex Allen, Roy Rogers, and sometimes, we saw, what's his name? Pat Buttram, and then Smiley Burnett.
Mhm.
Tuscola Smiley Burnett was on the Strand.
big screen.
Dollar bill.
Well, if I needed money, I'd go to my mom or maybe one of my siblings, but no use asking my dad for it. He
Oh, I
would-
could ask my dad. He didn't have any money. He said, "Where's my money?" Mom gave him a few dollars, and yeah, mom ran every family's got to have somebody run the show, and my mom
Mhm.
ran the show. And it
My
sounded like
dad-
your dad ran the show in your family.
Well, my mom kept the books, but if my dad let loose of a nickel, the buffalo would pant for air.
Yeah, Hey, we forgot, you mentioned the USI Credit Union. I mean, you talk about a good deal.
Mhm.
Man, the car loans were lower than the lowest rates in town. They paid the highest rates on investments. That credit union was a wonderful thing for
Mhm.
a lot of people.
It
Yeah, the
was.
US, we just drove by USI the other day. The tower's down now. Did you get a shot of the tower coming down?
No, I didn't know it was coming down till after it was down.
You heard the boom all over town, you know, but
I saw the video online.
yeah,
Somebody took a couple of them.
yeah. But anyway, it's I'll tell you, when you get older, one of the things that keeps you going are your memories. And so make sure you generate great memories when you're young.
You remember
because
when George Hillard had a credit union?
Oh, yes, they formed one at the Hillard
Mhm,
Agency.
mhm.
What was that called?
Can't remember.
In fact, John Kinney was eventually, it moved down to the old bank. Who was on the corner where the First State Bank is? What was that? Was that the Hillard Agency? No, what did, the water company was down there. Remember John Kinney and his water company down there?
Yeah, but
First
I've
State Bank?
forgotten that. Where
That
First
might have
State
been,
Bank
that might
is.
have been their credit union, right down there where the First State Bank was.
I remember
And
out
John
there.
ran his water company out of there.
Hmm.
Yeah, the Hillard Agency yeah, credit unions were good deals.
Mhm.
I don't even know if do they have any right now in Tuscola?
Not Tuscola that I know of.
U of I Credit Union, I think,
The
is where,
Illini Credit Union.
well, in fact, that's where,
Waldrop worked.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna probably shut this off.
Well, if you think
That's
we've,
fine.
if you think we've talked too much, and we're starting to ramble, just let us know.
Well, I gotta get this uploaded and
I know. But anyway, we had a good time. We're
I'll
gonna,
keep it going if you got things to say, Mike.
oh, we're
No.
gonna get a cheeseburger and we're gonna go sit in the cemetery and we're gonna finish this off the way it should be finished off.
All right. We'll see you next week on Remembering Tuscola.
See ya.